is good, my reflections? What is good, my babies? Welcome to the night school. You are over here with Sarethia. And if this is your first time, then welcome, baby. Welcome to the ethos. Okay. So with that being said, if you are new to the crew, we are over here reading the 48 Laws of Power. Okay, reflection. Y'all know with me, with Sarethia, we'll be over here 3 months reading 48 Laws of Power. But with that being said, I'm definitely going to try to stay on topic, okay? I just be having a lot. I be trying to stretch myself thin, reflection. So with that being said, that all goes into Law 16. Law 16 says, use absence to increase respect and honor. Too much circulation makes the price go down. The more you are seen and heard from, the more common you appear, okay? If you are already established in a group, temporary withdrawal from it will make you more talked about, okay? And even more admired. You must learn when to leave, okay? Create value through sacredcy, okay? So being seen too much can sometimes be a downfall, just like not being seen enough, okay? So we're talking about Law 16 and the 48 Laws of Power. It says, absence diminishes minor passions and inflames great ones. As the wind does a candle and fans a fire. If you put air on a fire, what is it going to do? It's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay. So with that being said, we're over here talking about Law 16. Okay. It says everything in the world depends on absence and presence, which is duality. A strong presence will draw power and attention to you, shine more brightly than those around you. But a point inevitably reached where too much presence can create the opposite effect. The more you are seen and heard from, the more your value goes down. You can become a habit and not a necessity, okay? No matter how hard you try to be different without knowing why, people will respect you less and less, okay? At the right moment, you must learn to withdraw yourself, okay? Before they unconsciously push you away, okay? It's called the game of hide and seek, all right? So, with that being said, we're talking about Law 16. The sun, it can only be appreciated by its absence. The longer the days of the rain, the more the sun is craved. We all know this, right? But too many hot days in the sun overwhelms. Learn to keep yourself obscured and make people demand your return, okay? Be on demand. Make yourself too available, and the aura of your power you have created around yourself will temporarily wear away. Make yourself less accessible, and you increase the value of your presence. Reflection, okay? So use your absence to create respect and esteem. If presence diminishes fame, absence arguments it, okay? Talents lose their luster if we become too familiar with them, okay? That's just like you get a toy or something. A child is always playing with the same toy. It's too available for them. But they could have had that toy for years and years, and you put it up and then bring it back out. They just like, it's the game of hide and seek. Never become too available to anything or anyone. So let's talk about the reverse effects of this. This law only applies, though, once a certain level of power has been obtained, okay? The need to withdraw only comes after you have established your presence. If you leave too early and you do not increase your respect, you are simply just forgotten, okay? When you are first entering the world stage, create an image that is unrecognizable, reproductive, and it is seen everywhere. Until the status is obtained, absence can be very dangerous. So this can play in a positive effect, and this law can definitely play in a negative effect, especially if you haven't already established what it is you're trying to establish, okay? In love and seduction, absence is only effective once you have surrounded the other with your image. Be seen by him or her everywhere. Everything must remind your lover of your presence, so that when you do choose to be away, the lover will always still be thinking of you. When you do choose to stray away, you will always be seeing him or her in your mind, or they will always be seeing you in their mind, okay? Remember, in the beginning, make yourself not scarce, but optimistic. Only what is seen, appreciated, and loved will be missed in absence. Okay? So, with that being said, reflection, that's a law you have to kind of know when to use it and when not to use it, because that law can help you and it can also destroy you at the same time very quickly. Okay? So, law 17, let's move on. Keeping others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. So, unpredictability can be a very powerful weapon if you know how to use it. So let's talk about unpredictability and the art of using unpredictability. Humans are creatures of habits with an insatiable need to see familiarity in other people's actions. Your predictability gives them the sense of control. Turn the tables. Be deliberately unpredictable. Behavior that seems to have no consistency or purpose will keep them off balance, and they will wear themselves out trying to figure you out. Taken extreme, this can be very strategic, and it can also intimidate. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about law 17. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Okay, being unpredictable. Okay, nothing is more terrifying than the sudden and unpredictable. This is why we are frightened by earthquakes and tornadoes. Have you ever seen someone doing an earthquake or a tornado? Are they not? I have seen people do the weirdest things during tornadoes and earthquakes. Even the toughest people seem like be scared during tornadoes and earthquakes is because they're unpredictable. You don't know what's to come. You don't know what path they come. You don't know what to expect. Reflection, we're talking about unpredictability. Okay, after one has occurred, we wait for terror for the next one. To a lesser degree, this is the effect of unpredictability in human behavior on us. Okay, so this law applies not only to war but in everyday situations. People are always trying to read the motives behind your actions and to use your predictability against you. So if you become too predictable, a person can use that against you because they already know your moves. Okay, you always want to be a couple steps ahead because they do not understand you. So you want to throw a complete unpredictable move at them. This will always throw them off. The best calculation in the absence of calculation. Once you have attained a certain level of recognition, others generally figure that when you do something, it's for an intelligent reason. Okay? Becoming unpredictable. So, this can also work against you. Reflection. Let's talk about that. Sometimes predictability can work in your favor by creating a pattern for people to be familiar and comfortable with. And you can lure them to sleep, if you know what I mean. First, it takes up a smokescreen, a comfortable front which you can carry on a deceptive actions. Second, it allows you to be rare on occasions to do something completely against the pattern, unsettling your opponent so deeply he will fall to the ground without being pushed. Okay, because you already, it's just like you can be unpredictable intentionally, you can be predictable and create certain patterns intentionally just to come in and create a unpredictable move, if you get what I'm saying. Okay, we're talking about the art and the 48 laws of power. Okay, let's keep it going. Unpredictability can work against you sometimes, though, especially if you are in a like you're in a position, let's say on work, okay? Let's say if you're on a job or something, you're in kind of a lower position. There are times when it's better to let people feel comfortable and settled around you than to disturb them. Too much unpredictability will be seen as a sign of indecisiveness, even if they are some serious psychic problems. Patterns can be very powerful, okay? Some people like patterns, okay? You can terrify people by disturbing them. Okay, so if you come in, you know how, like on a job, you want to tell them, no, things could be better this way. And they feel like, oh, no, you're disturbing the pattern. This is how it's supposed to be. You get what I'm saying? Some people need patterns. Okay, reflection. Some people, that's why I say creating patterns can be a good thing sometimes, and sometimes disturbing them can be a bad thing. So you just got to kind of know when to be unpredictable and when to be predictable. Okay. But patterns are very powerful, but such power should only be used in certain situations. Okay, so with that being said, let's talk about Law 18. Law 18, do not be a fortress. To protect yourself, isolation can be very dangerous, okay? Even when people are depressed and different things like that. Sometimes it's good to be in isolation and sometimes it's not. Let's talk about it. The world is dangerous and enemies are everywhere. And everyone has to protect themselves. A fortress seems the safest, but isolation exposes you to more danger than it protects you from. It cuts you off from vulnerable information. It makes you conspicuous and an easy target. Better to circulate among people, find allies, and mingle. You are shielded from your enemies by the crowd. Okay? It is though trickery and violence that conquered the provinces that surrounded his own and created in China. Okay, so let's talk about the King Qin of China. Okay, this particular king didn't trust anyone. Okay, reflection. When I say anyone, he didn't trust nobody. All right, so with him not trusting nobody, a lot of people couldn't really get to him. And with him not creating allies, with him not creating a particular safe source, a safe circle, even if it's almost like a period. Even if you're going to surround yourself in isolation, you always need to have a key to the outside where you always need to have to know what's going on. Okay, reflection. And sometimes if you don't have that particular knowledge of what's going on, it can work against you. So what do I mean by that? It is hardly ever right and perpetuous to choose isolation. Without keeping an ear on what is happening in the streets, you will be unable to protect yourself, okay? About the only thing that constant human contact cannot facilitate is thoughts, okay? The weight of society's pressure to conform and the lack of distance from people can make it impossible to think clearly about what is going on around you. If you don't know, if you can't see sometimes, then you don't know. What they say, out of sight, out of mind, okay? Isolation can help you to gain perspective, but at the same time, many a serious thinker has been produced in prisons, okay? Where there has been a lot of, think about people that are in prison, okay? People that are in prison, they become very isolated, but at the same time, they always keep, it's good for them to keep a eye or a ear to the streets or to the outside world of what's going on, because if not, then they can easily get, what's the word that they like to use, confinement. They can get a different type of mentality, okay? Out of sight, out of mind. Okay, so let's keep this going. Many serious thinkers have been produced in prison, where we have nothing to do but think, okay? Machiavelli could write The Prince only once he found himself in exile and isolated from a farm far from the political intrusions of Florence, okay? So he didn't even have his breakthrough until he was in isolation, okay? The danger, though, however, is that this type of isolation will sear all kinds of strange and different thoughts in your head. You may gain perspective on a larger perspective, but you will lose the sense of the smallness and your limitations of reality, okay? Also, the more isolated you are, the harder it is to break out of that isolation within self, okay? It sinks you deep into the quicksand without you even noticing. You ain't never seen somebody who was depressed. They didn't know they was getting depressed, reflection. It just, they woke up one day and they was just motherfucking depressed. Do you hear what I'm saying? I said I was gonna keep clean. They was just depressed, reflection. It didn't know, it just creeped on up on them. Do you hear what I'm saying? That's the same way, reflection. Okay, so we are over here talking about the 48 laws of power. Okay, we are over here talking about when to know how to be in isolation and when to know when it's time to get out of isolation, because the longer you are in that quicksand, the longer it's gonna take yourself to get up out of it. We are over here talking about the 48 laws of power, reflection. Hit that like and subscribe button, hit the follow button. You are over here at the Night School with Taretha, and like I always say, until next time, Ashe.